Welcome to HandyDadTV. I'm Chris Hyder, your virtual dad in the cloud, and today I'm going to show you how to rebuild the Vari-Flo XL valve from Hayward. This is on my sand filter. Now, I opened it up. It's very simple. There's 6 screws on the top of it. It pops right off. It sometimes sticks. It needs a little bit of persuasion, but it came off pretty easily. The rubber gasket that was on the bottom here was damaged. It was just ruined and worn and hanging over. Now, how did I know that there was a problem in the first place? A couple of ways. When the handle gets really tight and hard to turn, that's an indication that the valve needs some work. Another thing is when you get cross-contamination. So the valve is not sending the water exactly where it's supposed to. That was the situation I had when I was draining my pool. It was on waste, so all the water should have been going down the backwash hose. But in reality, when the water level dropped, I could see water was coming back into the pool through the returns. So think about it, dirty water going up the vacuum hose and some of it coming back in the pool. It all had to do with the valve, and specifically the rubber gasket on the bottom. Now, 6 screws, real easy to take this apart. It just required fingernails basically to pull it and pry it up. I got the rebuilding kit off of Amazon.com. It cost about $20 and it actually had next day shipping for me. It comes with 4 parts. This is the Spider Gasket that goes on the bottom. That's the most important part, truthfully. Although there's a ring around the outside, which is this gasket. That one is to keep it tightly sealed. But then there's these 2 other parts that go under here. That's the hardest part to replace. These things you can replace pretty easily without doing anything. But if you want to make this an improved, operation, you need to do a little bit more work. See, there's a spring in there, and it's a pretty heavy-duty spring. So I need to squeeze this together so that I take the pressure off of the spring. Now I'm going to tighten them down evenly. And I use the block of wood under here to make sure that I'm not damaging this. Now the pressure is off of this, you can see. The spring is sufficiently squeezed. Now there's a pin in here, and I'm just going to pop the pin out with a screwdriver. So this ring comes out really easily. So it came with a new ring for the top. It also came with a rubber washer that doesn't look like it needs to be used anywhere. There are a couple of metal washers, and there's a couple of seals right here that I can feel are gritty. So unfortunately the rebuild kit did not come with that. So it's not a perfect match, but it's close enough. So I will have to reuse these. And it wasn't leaking, so it shouldn't be a problem. I will lubricate them. And I'm just going to go and take this and clean it real quick. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm only going to use this lubricant that is made by Hayward, Jack's Formula 327 Multi-Lube. I don't know who Jack is, but Jack probably holds the patent for this. More power to you, Jack. Anyway, I'm going to use a little bit of this. This is safe for all kinds of rubber. Fine little bit in here. And then I'm going to put some right on the gaskets too. The new one goes in, and I'm going to lubricate that as well. A metal washer, the spring, another metal washer, the plastic washer goes around that, and then we get to squeeze it back together again. All right. Good. Now loosen these up together evenly. And that should operate more smoothly now. And the last part of it is the Spider Gasket, they call it, and that just fits right in the bottom. I'm just pressing it down into the channel that it sits in. This came from Tiki Island Pool Express. It didn't come with any kind of instructions. It is a direct replacement. It fits perfectly, but I couldn't find a rebuild kit directly from Hayward. This is aftermarket, of course. I don't think I need to lubricate this, but it can't hurt. Now to reinstall it and get the pool back up and running. Now there's a notch on here and a little tab right here, so that there's only one way this valve will fit. And it doesn't have to be, these screws don't have to be very tight, because that seal holds it in. It keeps the water in anyway. Okay. It works good, nice and smooth. The first thing I'm going to do is backwash it. Now this is my backwash hose. It goes down into the ground. It goes underneath the patio and comes out over here to the lowest spot of my yard. Alright, now that that is running clear, I'm going to switch it to rinse. Now one thing that you're supposed to do is turn that off before you move it. And that's one of the things I was kind of lazy with sometimes, and I think that may contribute to the gasket coming out of its seat. So I'm going to try and be better at it. The purpose of rinsing it after backwashing is so that that initial fresh water going down on the filter doesn't bring any loose stuff into the pool. It gets it down the pipe, and then I'll put it on filter. I would say that's pretty successful.